Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a special open spoiler discussion about the new show, The Mandalorian, Episode 2. Now, I cannot emphasize this enough, guys. This is an open spoiler discussion, which means we're going to talk about Episode 2 and all the things that happen in it. If you have not seen The Mandalorian Episode 2, then I highly recommend you add this video to your watch later list and come back a little later. If you choose to continue watching, that's on you at this point. Just want to get that out of the way. And hello to everybody there. What's up with you guys going on? We're going to be talking here about Mandalorian Season 2. Mostly, we're just going to spend today taking the comments and questions you guys have about Mandalorian Season 2 episode, or Mandalorian Season 1 Episode 2. But I want to give you a couple of my initial thoughts on it. Now, I talked a little bit about Episode 2 this morning on the John Campea Show, and I really quite enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, I liked it. It's not to say that I didn't like the first episode. I did like the first episode. I liked the first episode quite a bit, but I thought this episode just felt a lot better. You know, it just, I don't know if it was the direction or whatever, but it just felt a lot better, even though there's some very, very good things in Episode 1. I love the fact that right out of the gate, the episode starts with, it picks right up where the last one left. He's now walking away from the last scene with the baby in tow. Then instantly he's attacked by what I can only describe as Bosk-like characters jumping down on him. That was great. The disintegration of one of them was awesome. And the baby Yoda just not kind of freaking out at all, just like taking in, yeah, sup. Like every time they put the camera on baby Yoda, I'm like, what's up? That's just what it feels like the damn little thing is saying. It just feels like it's saying, what's up? Anyway, so that was great. I love that. And then you transition that into the first obstacle of the hero's journey. And that's he gets to his ship, and this is what should happen in good stories. The unexpected happens. He gets back to his ship. It's been stripped for parts by the Jawas, which is great. Now, this brings up a question for me. And Rob and I talked about this off camera. So, were they on Tatooine? Were they not on Tatooine? Like, I've always assumed Jawas are on different worlds. Like, they've probably spread out across the galaxy, and maybe they just generally inhabit desert-like worlds. But so I didn't really know if that was Tatooine or not. I'm assuming that it's not. Maybe I missed something that clearly defined whether it was or was not Tatooine. But I'm thinking it was not. Anyway. So then you get in that scene with the stripping of it, this epic action sequence of him on foot chasing down the sandcrawler and doing this Indiana Jones thing where he's catching up the sandcrawler and now he's trying to car up. The Jawas are throwing things down on him. And by the way, I mentioned this on the John Campea Show earlier today. Did you guys catch that homage to Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade? Because there's this completely identical scene where Indy's on the tank. They're trying to get him off the side of the tank. He's on the side of the tank, and they decide to pull the tank right up against the rock. At the last second, Indy sees it. He's able to pull himself away from it. And then they did that exact same scene. It was totally an homage to Indiana Jones with Mandalorian there as well. They move on from that. Of course, him getting shot, like him getting up to the top of the thing, and then like 25 Jawas with their guns. And I was wondering that as he's climbing, why don't they shoot at him? Then he gets to the top, and they fry him, falls the distance. The baby Yoda coming up to try to heal the wound. Of course, he doesn't understand that this is a Force-sensitive creature, puts it away, blah, blah, blah. Goes and then re-enters, I have spoken. So they go back to him, which is awesome that they get back to him. They go in a wonderful scene, him sitting down, trying to negotiate with the Jawas, which I thought was wonderful. I ate that scene up. I thought that was a great scene. Then they get the egg. What? And of course, in another action sequence where he's got to fight this huge beast. The one little thing I have about this episode was this huge, monstrous beast that you heard, like the camera cuts to outside the cave while the Mandalorian and the monster are still in the cave, and you hear blaster fire. Clearly, the blaster fire didn't bring the thing down. But he's got this little knife. Not even a Crocodile Dundee knife, just this little knife. And like, bing, and he does a little stick with the knife in the side, and it drops the animal. I'm like, really? Just a little knife? And that killed him? Okay. Maybe the Mandalorian knew exactly where to stab it, where it would cut an artery. I don't know. But that was my one little issue. Getting the ship put back together again, the whole farewell thing, and he takes off into space. And of course, the baby Yoda pulling out the Force powers. God, I just had so much fun with this episode. I had so much. And then, of course, the egg. And of course, you knew, I had a feeling, well, I didn't know they were going to start eating it. I had a feeling they were going to get the egg, and I thought the Jawa was going to go, yay, and then just smash it on the ground just to get rid of that creature. I don't know. And then they start all eating the egg. I'm like, all right, that was worth it to give up all the parts from a starship? Okay, whatever. But, gotta tell you, it just felt great. You know, one of the things I said to Rob this morning was, as somebody who plays the role-playing game, like I play, well, you can see this blue book right, how do I move my hand? There, no, this way. This blue book right here, that's my Star Wars the role-playing game book. And me and a few buddies play the Star Wars role-playing game. And this episode felt like a game session of a role-playing game. Like the hero, you encounter this. Okay, now you move on and you encounter this. And now you have this problem. Now you got to negotiate. Now you got to fight this beast. And it just felt like the dramatization of a role-playing game session, which to me is an awesome thing. And we've always known that The Mandalorian was a Western in the Star Wars universe, but this one really felt like a serialized Western. You know what I mean? It felt like a serialized Western. And I really dug it. And the last episode was a solid start, got me excited for where this show could go. But this was the episode that showed me the promise of what this show can be. And I ate it up and I loved it. And so, yeah, so there's that. A big step forward for me as far as that goes. All right, anyway, guys, those are some of my thoughts on the episode. Oh, and Anne's not joining us today because Anne still hasn't had a chance to watch it. She's downstairs watching The Mandalorian right now because she had to go to work. She didn't have a chance to watch it on her lunch or anything like that, so she didn't watch it, so she's not up here. But as we speak right now, she's downstairs watching The Mandalorian. So let's now spend the rest of our time here talking about the stuff you guys want to talk about as far as The Mandalorian Episode 2 goes. Let's jump over there right now and start seeing what you guys have to say. And the first one comes up from Dim Sum 05, who writes, "The child using the Force broke my heart." Broke your heart? Why did it break your heart? Like, I thought it was awesome. And then he's like, and then he's so exhausted he passes out. I thought it was adorable. I'd like you to clarify about why it broke your heart. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Anyway, because Cinema Reviews writes, did I mention I have spoken? Because I have spoken. I'm so glad he said it twice in this episode. And then right there at the very, well, first of all, the first time he said it, goes, I will, like, he's like, look, you got to go to the Jaws. I will take you to them. I have spoken. It's like, that's it. No more discussion. It's done. It's settled. And then he says it as his last line as well, which I thought was oddly appropriate. K Major writes, damn Jawas, filthy little things. Although I thought it was really neat the way Nick Nolte's character was saying, hey, look, they're Jawas. They don't destroy things. They steal. They don't destroy. And by the way, one of the interesting things, if you really think about it, was when they didn't blast him with, I mean, look, with all the technology, they have weapons that could kill things. And even when Boba Fett was attacking them, the Mandalorian was attacking them and vaporized, disintegrated a couple of them, he got to the top of the crawler and they still just stunned him. And I don't know if there's something deeper there. I don't know if there's something deeper there about Jawas don't kill, or I don't know. I just wonder, you know, when you look at that combined with the fact of what Nolte's character said about, you know, they don't destroy, they steal, but they don't destroy. I just can't help but wonder if there's something deeper there, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yes, K Major, damn Jawas. Dim Sum 05 writes, I was surprised how much storytelling there was without a single line of English spoken in the first third of the episode. Shows Femiua's chops. Absolutely. And again, Dave Filoni, you got to remember, Dave Filoni directed the first episode. It was the first time Dave Filoni has ever directed anything live action. Okay, so cut him a lot of slack. He's going to learn a lot. But you could tell the difference between the first episode directed by somebody who'd never directed live action before and some of the little kinks in the gears that I think were there from the first episode. Then you get somebody who is an experienced guy directing live action. And you see what he does, and it just felt better, you know? And I believe Dave Filoni will get there. I totally have 100% confidence Dave Filoni will get there. It's just interesting to see that. And yeah, so much story is told, even in just like 30 minutes or less. Like there's so much story being told, even within the scenes that there's no words being spoken. I thought that was pretty great. Anyway, Cinema Review writes, come on, Mando, the little guy just wanted a hug. It's like, no, back in your crib. What? No, back in your crib. I got a kick out of that. I got a 3 men and a little lady, or a little bit, 3 men and a baby kind of vibe from that. I don't know why. I just thought that was kind of fun. All right, Dim5 writes, Rick Famuyiwa. And now, is it Famuyiwa or is it Famuyiwa? Is it Famuyiwa or Famuyiwa? I'm still not 100% sure. I'm sure I've said his name wrong 1,000 times. I'm sure I've said it wrong 1,000 times. But as somebody with a last name that everybody always mispronounces, I can sympathize with him on that. All right, Joshua Levesque writes, hey, John, enjoyed The Child. That's the name of the actual episode, is The Child. Enjoyed The Child. It's better than Chapter 1. A side mission with great Star Wars, but felt like filler. What's your Baby Yoda? I didn't feel like it felt like filler at all. This is a serialized Western story. And Star Wars, one of the things I said this morning is one of the things that I really want from my Star Wars things, because we get a lot out of Star Wars, but what I really look for is adventure, which is part of the reason why I play the role-playing game. I look to Star Wars for adventure. And in that sense, I felt like this episode of Mandalorian gave me a big heaping sense of adventure. And it is just a chapter on his journey. Look, this whole season, these 8 episodes are going to be this journey that the Mandalorian's on. From accepting the mission, fulfilling the mission, what complications come on down the road. But this was clearly one of those chapters that takes us to where he's going. And in the hero's journey, there's always obstacles overcome. In this case, it was a Jawa-sized obstacle, but it was an obstacle nonetheless. That's why when some people mentioned it felt like it was great, but it felt like a filler episode, I couldn't disagree more. It didn't feel like a filler to me at all. But that's just me. Baby Yoda prediction, none. I have no Baby Yoda prediction. I'm going to be very, very curious to see where they're going with this little thing. There's a lot of things I knew about the show before it started. What the fate of this little guy is something I have no idea about. I have absolutely no idea about it. So, and I kind of like being in that position. So we'll see where that goes. All right. Next up, Brandon Blake writes, so are they on, this is exactly what I was asking, Brandon. Are they on Tatooine or a Jawa? I've always felt, Brandon, that Jawas are probably throughout the galaxy. They're clearly not uncivilized. I mean, they understand technology. They have this big roving fortress. They know how to work with droids. And so I've always assumed they are throughout the galaxy. But I mean, this world just looks a lot like Tatooine, but there's never said it's Tatooine. So I don't know. Honestly, Brent, I don't know, but that is one of the questions I have had as well. Luke1234 writes, so the Rhino, this is exactly what I was saying too. So the Rhino died after that little stab wound. Did he just know the biology of the thing and he just knew to stab it in just the right spot? I don't know. It seemed like a pretty tiny knife for such a big animal. And I found that one a little bit curious. I admit I'm with you on that with Luke1234. All right, Casinema Reviews writes, if a baby can do that, then Rey, a much more focused 19-year-old with survival instincts, doing what she's able to do without training is not that big of a deal. Dude, I've been saying all along what Rey's able to do is not that big of a deal. She's really not able to do all that much. And she's able to do it with pretty much the same amount of training that Luke had. While we were taking a road trip to Alderaan, some exercises with a lightsaber and a remote, and then a long weekend at Yoda's place. Really? That's Jedi training? Anyway, so yeah. But then again, who knows? Maybe there's certain species in Star Wars that are just more tuned naturally to the Force. Maybe yes, maybe no. Don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see where they're going to go with that, because we know so little about Yoda's species. Hell, they don't even have an official name for it. We know so very, very little about it. It's going to be interesting to see where we go with that. All right. Helen Maris writes, 27-minute episode. Even though I like the content more than episode 1, this show does feel like animated show in terms of pacing. It's not a minor issue for me. Listen, 27 minutes is still, look, a lot of TV shows out there are half-hour shows. It just is what it is. A lot of shows are half-hour shows. And at 27 minutes, you're actually getting more of the show than a regular half-hour show on network television, because you get about, 8 minutes of commercials during those things. So That is what it is. Like I was hoping for 8 hours of Mandalorian in season 1. That clearly is not what they were going for with this. And maybe it just would have been way too expensive. Like, we'll probably end up with 5 hours of Mandalorian as opposed to 8. But that difference of 3 hours could be the difference of $100 million, right? So it just might be like, we can't have everything. We can't get movie quality production with season 1 of an untested show like Mandalorian and expect them to put $300 million into it. I mean, so we're getting like movie level effects. We're getting a lot of great stuff for what we're getting. And yes, I was looking forward to hour-long episodes as well, but it's not. And I'll be honest with you, it's not affecting it. It's not affecting it to me because I feel like I just watched a half hour. Don't think of it in terms of episodes. Just think of it in terms of overall runtime. All right? Don't think of it in terms of episodes. Think of it in terms of overall runtime. So far, we've got about an hour and 15 minutes, roughly, maybe a little bit less, of an hour and 10 minutes of runtime. And we're an hour and 10 minutes into this movie. So just think of it in terms of that. And then we've had to hit pause and we'll unpause it again in a week when or in a few days when the next episode drops. So I would encourage looking at it that way. That's my thought at anyway. But yep, hey, listen, as much as anybody else, I was looking forward to 8 hours of it. But okay, that's not what we're getting. The key now is, are they going to give us good stuff with what we are getting? And I think so far they're giving us pretty good stuff. But that's just me. All right. Ivan Gonzalez sends in a really large super chat. Thank you, Ivan, for supporting the channel on that level. I appreciate that, dude. Ivan writes in, hey, John, after last night, I want a Baby Yoda movie. I fell in love with that little, probably meant little guy. Absolutely adorable life form. Give me 2 hours of him using the Force powers and then sleeping. If I get that, I'll die a happy man. Dude, listen. The only bad thing about Anne being downstairs watching The Mandalorian right now is that I really wanted to watch it with her and see her reaction to Baby Yoda. And I know it's not Baby Yoda, but that's just what we're all calling it. Baby Yoda. Oh my God, that thing's adorable. Do you see Eat the Frog? Get that thing out of your mouth. And then, oh God, that thing's so cute. That thing's so cute. It's adorable. I could eat that thing up. And I'm with you, dude. I could watch an hour-long episode of this show where it's just, Mandalorian walking with it, trailing behind him in the little floating buggy, and then him looking back and the Baby Yoda looking adorably at him, and then walking some more, then looking back and him sleeping. I could do an entire hour. I could do an entire hour of that at this point. It's so, I just don't know how the practical effects department made that little thing look so damn cute. Because Yoda's an ugly species, but damn Baby Yoda, it just looks adorable. Just adorable. All right. Anyway, Zach Houston sends in a really large super chat. Thank you so much for Zach. I appreciate that. Where is he at? Regarding my earlier comment. What was the earlier comment? Zach. Did Zach send in an earlier comment? I don't see an earlier comment from Zach. So maybe you're talking about a different show that you sent this in. Anyway, regarding my earlier comment, I meant it was intentionally small as in comparison to the runtime matching the content such Baby Yoda using the Force, Jawas in general, Kuil, by the way, that's the Nick Nolte character, but I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name properly. Kuil helping out. For such a short runtime, a lot happened. Quality over quantity. I agree. Like, honestly, I just felt like, again, let me go back to this whole thing about, look at it in terms of runtime as one big movie. Let's look at this. And for most television, you shouldn't do this, but I think for here it applies. If we look at Mandalorian as one really long movie, maybe 4.5 hour, maybe 5 hour long movie, and just look at it in terms of runtime, I think we'll see that even though this episode was 30 minutes, a lot happened in it. And I never once felt like it was rushed. I didn't feel like it was rushed at all. I felt like, hey, right off you want to start with a big opening scene. Boom, jumped by the other members of the Bounty Hunter Guild, which, by the way, does that mean that Werner Herzog sent other guys after him as well? Does that mean somebody else has a bounty out on this thing? Interesting, but I'm sure we'll get to that in future episodes. But I agree with you 100%, Zach. I felt like a lot of good stuff was put in that half hour without making it seem like it was moving at a breakneck speed, like too much was happening all at once. I felt it just unfolded and unfolded well. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on that, Zach. I'm with you on the same page as that. So again, thank you for the large super chat and donating to the channel that way. But I agree. I completely agree. All right. Trail Shredder Florida writes, the force is with you, Master Campy. Well, thank you so much, Trail Shredder. I appreciate that. Anurag Polk writes, Mandalorian plus Fallen Jedi equals Awesome Friday. Dude, listen, I've got, I'll show it to you right here. Let me just click on that. I'm going to open up my page, my over on my browser right now. I've had this open all day, and I've just been waiting for the opportunity to get over there, download. But my day has been so freaking busy, I haven't had the chance to just go over and just actually install the damn game, let alone play it. So you know I'm going to do that at some point tonight. Anne's going to go see a Romeo and Juliet show tonight with some people. So I'm probably going to stay home and play a little bit of Jedi Fallen Order. I think that's what I'm doing with my time. But yeah, I've had it sitting here open on my browser most of the day, just waiting for a chance to get over there and open it and start playing it. But yes, Mandalorian, Fallen Order, and Episode 9, all within the span of about a month. It's a good month to be a Star Wars fan, my friends. It's a good month to be a Star Wars fan. All right. Ben Rayner. Where'd we go here? A little bit of a jump. Hold on a second. Where'd Ben go? There he is. Ben Rayner writes, Baby Yoda is awesome. I have spoken. McClunky. Again, the McClunky things. It is crazy how old. Rob brought it up this morning. It's true because somebody sent in a super chat, said McClunky. It's like, yeah, that really got old really fast. I agree. It got old really fast. But I have spoken has not. I think I have spoken is forever. I have spoken has become one of the new great Star Wars catchphrases forever. Initial D's writes, what have you been hearing about episode 2? I watched with friends and only 2 out of 10 of us, really, only 2 out of 10 of us liked it. The others said it was terrible. Episode 1 was way better and they were very disappointed. What's the consensus? Well, look, everybody I've spoke to, and I haven't spoken to, I've been working all day, but I know Christian loved it. I know Rob loved it. I know I loved it. I know my buddy Soul loved it. I like most of my friends on Twitter loved it. So I've been finding, and most of the online journalists loved episode 2. As a matter of fact, I got a text message from a producer buddy of mine before they dropped episode 2, who had already seen it, and told me, John, watch for this, and they loved it. So I have not talked to a single person who didn't love it. So that's just me. But again, everything is subjective. So there are obviously going to be people that don't like it, and some people that love it even more than me, and some people who like it as much as me. But the consensus amongst the people I know have been very positive. So yeah, it's that. But hey, man, everything hits people in different ways, and that's just the way it is. So it's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Joey Adams writes, the Jawas had me in tears. Damn the Jawa stuff. I just liked it when Kuiil was like, they don't like you very much. Well, I did disintegrate a couple of them. That was awesome. That was so great. And then they sit down to barter, because I guess that's the underlying. I guess the Jawas are kind of like the Ferengi in Star Trek. Maybe more to the point, the Ferengi are the Jawas of the Star Trek universe, only a little bit more refined. I don't know. But yeah, damn, the Jawas, having them in there was great. Mr. 47 writes, every new Star Wars makes me want to own a live creature / robot as a pet, aka Porgs, BB-8, and now I want Baby Yoda, so frickin' adorable. Yep, and I have plenty of the first 2 in my house. I have a number of Porgs. Anne loves Porgs. As a matter of fact, she started an Instagram account that started getting a lot of followers called Porgstagram, was the name of her Instagram account, where she was posting a new Porg, like taking Porgs around LA and taking pictures of Porgs in various locations in LA. It was a big thing. And we have a couple of BB-8s, including remote controlled ones, around the house. Not full-sized movie quality BB-8s. I don't have that kind of money, but it's a lot of those. And I'm sure very soon, because the first thing Anne said, being, because she's Hasbro, the first thing Anne said when we saw that Baby Yoda was, besides being, oh, it's so cute, was, who's got the toy making license for that Baby Yoda? Like, I mean, so clear, there's going to be a lot of Baby Yodas around. There's going to be a lot. All right. Colby Harris writes, do you know if this Baby Yoda is puppet or CGI? I believe it's a mix. There are clearly a couple of shots when you can tell it is CGI. But I also believe, I don't know this for a fact, I believe there are a couple of shots when it's a practical puppet, because you could tell the way it moves too. It moved just very, very puppet-ish. So I think it's a combination of CGI and puppet, I believe, but I don't know that for sure. QS Hicks writes, so the Mandalorian was after a young orphan darling asset. Yoda, Yoda, young orphan darling asset, Yoda. Of course, obviously it is not Yoda. We know that it is not Yoda, but it is of Yoda's species. Now, I think we're going to find out more about the Yoda species than we've ever found out from anything in Star Wars ever. So that's a really interesting part about this, QS. All right, Man Mountain Gherkin 23 writes, is Baby Yoda a name of an individual or nickname for a species? Because I thought Yoda was 900 years old. No, the baby, we've only seen 2 of Yoda's species in all of Star Wars. There's only been 2. And they'd never given the species a name. So when we see this little creature, they don't have a species name for it yet. At least they haven't told the public what the name of Yoda's species is. They've never given it an official name. So what do we call it? Well, call it Baby Yoda. So it's just a little nickname everybody knows. It's not an official thing, and that itself is not Yoda. That is not Yoda. Let's just be very, very clear on that. That little baby is not Yoda himself. A fan of Peanuts writes, love that incredible, tasteful Last Crusade homage. Yeah, I loved that as well. As soon as it happened, I'm like, oh my God, that was such an homage to Last Crusade. I totally ate that up. Macros Vieira sends in, I'm enjoying very much the series so far. I expected the episode to be a little longer though. What do you think we should expect for the next episode? I'm already sold anyway. You know what? Here's my guess. And it is just a guess. My guess is we're going to be looking at roughly half-hour episodes. I think they gave us a little bit longer episode for the first episode. I expect for the final episode we'll get a longer one too. But I'm expecting, again, no insider information here. I'm just saying what I'm guessing. My guess is we can probably look for the rest of the series to be around the 30-minute mark. I think the rest of the series will be somewhere around the 30-minute mark. And whether that's true or not, for all I know, the next episode is going to be an hour and a half long. I have no idea. But my guess is they're going to be around the 30-minute mark until the series season finale, which will probably be a little bit longer, just like the first episode was. Okay, QS Hicks writes, well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet, the John Campea Show. I have spoken. Yeah, that should probably be my new ending. That should be, by the way. Some people are telling me that instead of ending with bye-bye, they're saying that Dark Side, Light Side, that's the Star Wars show Christian Harloff and I do every Tuesday. The people have been saying you should end Dark Side, Light Side with I have spoken. And I think, that's kind of stereotypical at this point. It's kind of expected, but I like it. So I just might do that. Hector Jeter writes, did you hear the beginning of the music notes to the Force theme when the baby lifted the Reek creature? Love the episode. Watch it twice. By the way, I don't think that's a Reek. Just to be clear, I don't think that is, but it's Reek-like, so I guess. You know what? No, I didn't pay attention to the music. I'm going to have to go downstairs and listen to that again. Because I was just kind of taken with what was actually going on the screen, that I don't think I picked up on those notes, Hector, but I'm glad you did. So now I'm going to go downstairs and watch that again and watch for those notes particularly, see how that comes out. Hector Jeter then writes, I want to try that Cadbury egg, right? Yeah, that's pretty much what a Cadbury egg is though. But man, they were going to town on that egg. Really? They were willing to give up all those Starship parts just for a snack? Really? For a snack. Okay. Hey, Jawas, go figure. All right. Fan of Peanuts writes, at the end, beautiful, rousing score, highly evocative of the Temple of Doom. And did you notice that great failure expression from Yodeling when Mando awoke? I'm trying to remember the exact moment. Like when he woke up after having been stunned by the Jawas and fell off the sandcrawler. I don't remember. I'll have to go down and take a look. But the music throughout, I've really liked the music in both the episodes so far. I'm really on board for the music for both the episodes so far. So, Joshua Marshall writes, I know it's a Western style show, which I love, but the beginning of the episode was reminiscent of There Will Be Blood. Ooh, with no talking and the emotions, intrigue shining through with no dialogue. Seriously. And that's just good storytelling, man. Like when you can tell your story and understand concretely and coherently what's going on without the need for dialogue to didactically tell us what's going on, that's some good filmmaking. And I ate it up on that level. And you know, you're right. There's a little bit of a There Will Be Blood feel to it, which in and of itself was sort of in a way a little bit of a Western too, when you really look back on it from a certain point of view, I suppose. But yeah, everything from the music notes, camera angles, dissolves, they really do give it that Western lone gunslinger in the wilderness feel, who's on his own very unique hero's journey. And I'm eating it up. And I love that they're able to get through so much without dialogue. I love it. And it does make me think, though, that in future episodes, we're going to get some, like, I still believe we're going to get the helmet off at some point. Maybe even for an entire 1 or 2 episodes. And they're going to let Pedro Pascal really play around with the character a bit. I don't know that for sure, but I'm expecting that. But in the meantime, I'm loving the dialogue less scenes. It's just working for me. Because even when he's talking to Kuil and he's like, blah, 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 a lot of times he just doesn't answer him. I thought you were dead. Nothing. Just stands there looking at him. I mean, I'm kind of digging the silence of it. I don't know. It's just kind of working for me. All right. Thanks a lot for that, Joshua. Next up, Fan of Peanuts writes, observed credits didn't see ILM for visual effects. I'd have to go back and look into that. Shane Cutshaw writes, Deborah Chow to direct episodes 3 and 7, and she's directing the Obi-Wan series. She is also directing the Obi-Wan series. Will be exciting to see her 2 episodes. Could this possibly give us a taste for her directing talent and what we can expect for Obi-Wan? Well, listen, Shane, first of all, her, let me just bring up her IMDb here. If you want a taste of her directing talent, well, you don't have to go any further. She's directed episodes of American Gods, Man in the High Castle, Better Call Saul, Snowfall, Lost in Space, Jessica Jones, Fear the Walking Dead, Rain, Tyrant, Vampire Diaries. She's directed episodes of Mr. Robot. Unfortunately, she also directed an episode of Iron Fist. So there's one. She is very experienced at this format, and she's done some really, really good things. So if you want to get a sense for what her direction is like, you just have to look there. But clearly, they were impressed enough by her and her 2 episodes that they decided to not just get her to direct an episode of the Obi-Wan series. She's going to direct the whole series. Deborah Chow, they were so impressed by her, she's going to direct the entire Obi-Wan series. So that is really exciting. And so to see how she functions in the Star Wars universe is just another reason to look very much forward to episode 3, because we're going to get a sense of her cadence with Star Wars. Because remember now, she's going to be directing the entire Obi-Wan series. So I think it's going to give us a little bit of a peek. I'm excited. And she's going to be, directing the second to last episode, which in a lot of television these days, the second last episode seems to be the episode where all the really big stuff happens. Whether that they're going to do that with this series, who knows? We're not sure. But yeah, I'm very excited, Shane, to see what she's going to do with these episodes. And let's see what they have in store for us. And thank you again. By the way, thank you for that really big super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel on that level, Shane. We appreciate it. All right. BK writes, hey, John. In an interview with Pedro Pascal, he reveals that the Mandalorian's name is Din Djarin. What are your thoughts on this? None. I have no thoughts. I didn't know that interview existed. I didn't hear his name. And him having a name, I assumed every Mandalorian does have a name, and we know that from the previous shows. But no thoughts. I have no thoughts on that. Emad writes, over under 30%, they will give us a wink wink moment in episode 9 that has to do with the Mandalorian under. Well under 30%. They won't do that. Okay. Hector Jeter writes, so where are we at here? Sorry, things jumped a bit here. Here we go. Hector Jeter writes, seeing the Jawas and the Sandcrawler gave me me too. It looked great too, and we looked inside the cockpit of the Sandcrawler, which was cool. Just I thought that was great. A fan of Peanuts writes, yeah, I love that Baby Yoda eats frog. The frog eating thing was so great. Just get that out of your mouth. And he just swallows it and smiles, a little burp. That was great. So it's official. Yoda species, all Force sensitive? Not necessarily. That's, we saw Luke and Obi-Wan. Does that mean confirmed, all humans Force sensitive? Not necessarily. It could mean that. It could mean that maybe just that species a little bit more attuned to the Force than other species or human species. Maybe this is Yoda's child. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, but it does not officially. Seeing one more of that species, and because that one more also has that power, let's come to a conclusion like that when we see 20 others and they all have the Force as well. But right now, I think it's a little premature to say that. It could be the case, but I think it's a little bit premature to say it's official now just because we saw one more of the species. Doesn't really mean anything. Fan of Peanuts also writes, painting my kitchen right now while watching you live. Good luck. I hate painting. I hate trying to paint in the house. So good luck on that, Fan of Peanuts. I admire you because I would have hired somebody to do it and spent money I shouldn't be spending. Mr. 47 writes, after 2 episodes, I think we've had enough of Tatooine, in my opinion. By the way, Fallen Order is pretty good so far. I'm about 90 minutes in, and the reviews for it are great. I'm very excited about trying it out. I've had it loaded up, ready to download all day. I've just never gotten around to doing it. And again, I don't know that it's Tatooine. I don't know that it's Tatooine. So we'll see what they do. Now, remember, though, the less complicated the setting, the more manageable the budget for the show is. So, I mean, he can't be running around the streets of Coruscant all the time. That could get pretty expensive. But, so let's keep our expectations in check. It's also, remember, he's supposed to be on the outskirts, way out on the fringes of the galaxy. So let's keep that in mind as well. All right. Lil Nat Eant. Lillian. Anyway, try my best to pronounce. Sends in a very large super chat. Thank you so much for that, man. We appreciate that around here. We really do. Anyway, writes, love The Mandalorian, love Baby Yoda using the Force, and The Mandalorian has no idea about the Force. Longtime viewer, love your content. Well, thank you so much, man. And listen, by the way, don't assume that he knows nothing about the Force. Christian Harloff brought up on Dark Side, Light Side a very valid observation. And his observation was, remember in episode 1, we got brief glimpses of Mandalorian's backstory in flashbacks, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he encountered a Force user before. I think he knows, and by the way, Mandalorians have a history with Force users. Let's not forget, the Mandalorians as a race, they've had background experiences with Force users and whatnot, right? And Jedi from themselves. I think he knows what the Force is. And I think he's clued in, okay, this baby, and because he's looking at the rhino and he looks back at the baby, he knows what's going on. I think he knows what's going on. Now, I don't know if he knows what to do with it. I don't know if he knows what this means. I don't think he understands everything, but he knows what the Force is, and he knows that baby's got it. I don't know if he's put 2 and 2 together about this is the same species as the fabled Jedi Master Yoda. I don't know if he's put all that together, but he knows what's up. At least I think he does. I could be wrong about that, but that's where I'm at on this right now. Is I think he's got a sense about what's going on. Whether he does for sure or not, I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, let's see. Damian Wilson writes, do you agree that Lucasfilms shouldn't put Favreau/Filoni, or should put Favreau/Filoni in charge of the Star Wars TV cinematic universe? This is the best Star Wars content since the OG trilogy. I'm not willing to go there. And Dave Filoni, I'm still not there. I'm more there for John Favreau, who's actually an experienced producer and director. Dave Filoni has made some cartoons, and some questionable cartoons. Because he made that Clone Wars movie, and that was, I'm not going to mince words here, guys. That Clone Wars movie was fucking awful. It is the worst, other than the Star Wars Christmas special. That thing was worse than Attack of the Clones. It is the worst piece of Star Wars stuff ever created. Now, Then I saw the direction of episode 1, and I still think he's gone a lot of way along. So no, and I'm not a huge fan of the Clone Wars TV series. I'm not a huge fan. I think Dave Filoni has a lot more to prove still. I think he can get there. But you know, I still think The Force Awakens is better than Mandalorian. I still think Rogue One is better than The Mandalorian. So far, we still got 6 episodes to go. I may change my mind, but right now I still think those are better. So, I mean, if they were to announce that that Kathleen Kennedy has appointed Favreau to kind of be her lieutenant to look after all of Star Wars television stuff, I could be down with that. I'm still not there on Dave Filoni, though. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know everybody's like, Dave Filoni! And I like Dave. I've met Dave. I've talked to Dave. I like Dave Filoni very much. But, you know, I'm a fan of Rebels, but I'm not there with Dave Filoni. I'm not. Here's the problem with fandom. Fandom gets excited by names they recognize. And I just don't think he's there yet. I just don't think he's there yet. I'll be curious to see the next episode that he directs. Now that he's cut his teeth on the first one, I'd be curious to see the adaptation and the changes that happen in his directorial style come the next one. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, so no, I don't agree. I do not agree in general. I would be down for Favreau, but not Filoni. Okay. A fan of Peanuts writes, first episode 1, 9 out of 10. Episode 2, 9.5 out of 10. This feels like Star Wars. I don't give the first episode that high. I enjoyed it. I think it checked all the boxes and set the table. I think it did all the things that a first episode should do. But I would give it maybe more of a, I mean, I don't give numerical scores, but if I had to on one, I might give it like a 7, which is solid 7. I don't know, I go like to 9 or whatever, but I did like the second episode quite a bit. I liked it quite a bit. They're off to a really good start. L Mars 1983 writes, "Hey John, greetings from Ecuador. Thank you. Baby Yoda equals Gizmo, but cuter than Gizmo. Cuter than Gizmo. And he's got the Force. So even better." Fan of Peanuts writes, "Loved watching them take time to repair the ship." Yeah, that was kind of a nice thing too. Because, like, how on earth are you going to do that? And it would have felt weird. I'll be honest with you. It would have felt weird to just go, okay, got the parts back, and then cut to another scene. Okay, ship's all fixed. Time to leave. It's like, really? It felt right that they showed a little bit of time, them putting the ship back together. It just felt more natural. I agree. Suthius writes, "Hey, Mr. C, Mandalorian has a certain swagger walk to him. He does a little bit. He does, and one of the biggest badasses in the galaxy should have a little bit of swagger." Fan of Peanuts writes, "Oh God, those beautiful canvas shots in the desert." I agree. I was really noticing that, how beautiful just them doing those shots looked. It looked fantastic. Very Western serial of them to do. Suthius writes, "Is Beskar their version of vibranium seems strong?" I'm not really sure. I mean, clearly not, because it gets bent and damaged and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't seem indestructible at all. Because you see, even today, his chest plate was all kind of mangled up. But yeah, other than that, I don't know enough about the material. Suthius writes, "I want his rifle and all ammo that goes with it." It's a cool, not a very practical weapon because it's so large and awkward. But man, they make him, when he uses that weapon, dude, it looks so cool. Fan of Peanuts writes, egg, dude, I'm so Ghibli at the moment. That was so funny. And even, did you notice even when they cut to the cockpit of the Sandcrawler, the one Jawa looks at him and goes, "Yeah," or whatever the word was for egg, just says egg. They're really psyched up for a snack. They're really psyched up for a snack. By the way, I think the first time I've seen a Jawa eat something. Anyway, interesting thought. Initial D's writes, so I need new friends. I argued a lot with them out. Hey, listen, there's no need to argue, debate, but there's no need to argue. Look, movies and TV are art. As art, they are subjective. Being subjective, that means it's going to hit us all in different ways. So you can just say, hey, this worked for me and here's why it worked for me. That doesn't mean you can't convince somebody to like something that they don't like, and you can't convince somebody to not like something they don't like. You know, it just, we experience these things. You experience art and you don't choose how you react to it. You just have a reaction to it. And no need to change friends, Initial. No need to change friends. All right, Beatmaster writes, all the stolen parts for one egg. What would one get for an omelet? Wondering if Mandalorians are concussion proof as well. Macy's got a really good helmet. Really good helmet. But I agree. I'm like, really? All those Starship parts for an egg? But I don't know. Maybe they were really chosen for that egg. I mean, I don't know. Maybe like that egg is also like Viagra and it gives him like 3-month-long boners. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand Jawa culinary delicacies, and I do not understand Jawa biology. So there's got to be something about it, because they were willing to give up an awful lot just for that damn egg. But they did seem like they were enjoying it an awful lot. All right, Fan of Peanuts writes, I saw those Jawas and those sequence dude Cloud9. I saw those Jawas and whole sequence dude. Is that your just way of saying you loved it and you were excited? Because if so, I agree. I thought it was a great use of the Jawas. I thought bringing a familiar Star Wars element into the story, but doing it in a non-forced way that felt very natural. Like, yeah, his ship got stripped by Jawas. That makes perfect narrative sense. And so that was a really nice move on their part. Piggy66 writes, I am disappointed with this series. It seems made for kids. Ooh, I disagree. I don't get any gritty space western feel at all. Well, you know what? That just goes back, Piggy66, to what I was saying earlier. It's all subjective. And you watch these episodes and they've hit you in such a way that it's not really satisfying. And that sucks. I mean, that sucks I did, but you don't choose that. That's just how you experienced it. And there's nothing more or less credible about how you experienced it compared to how I experienced it. All I know is that my experience with it has been very different than yours. My experience has been very nostalgic. I have gotten a lot of those overtones of the gritty, the old Westerns and stuff like that. I have got that feel to it, but it didn't for you. And that's unfortunate. That sucks. I mean, because I know that I watch some things that a lot of people like and then I don't like it. I'm like, man, that sucks. Like whether it's like a Blade Runner. Everybody loves Blade Runner, and I don't like Blade Runner. I like Blade Runner 2049, but I don't like the original Blade Runner. And all I can say is that, man, it sucks that I didn't like it, because I know everybody else does. But oh well, I can't choose that. It's an art. I experienced it. That's what happened when I watched it. You watched The Mandalorian, and something different happened with you in your experience than what happened with a lot of other people. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So if it didn't work for you, it didn't work for you. And that's cool. But I really do enjoy it quite a bit, my brother. All right. Final question of the day here, guys. Then we're going to wrap this thing up. Suthius writes, I think only his one shoulder pad and helmet is Beskar. Yeah, it seems like he's bit by bit getting it put together. So that could be an overall story thread that they planted in the first episode that maybe we'll re-explore more down the line as we get into more episodes. I don't know for sure, but it feels like that a little bit. Anyway, guys, listen, we're going to wrap up. I planned on this. I thought we were going to do this for about a half hour. We're just 10 minutes shy of going for an hour. So there's a lot to talk about. Hey guys, listen, I really enjoyed this episode of, and there we are there. I really enjoyed this episode of Mandalorian, episode 2. It took the table that episode 1 set and started to put the banquet on it. You know, I ate it up. I loved it. I had a very good time with it. Again, look, this show could break bad very quickly, right? I mean, maybe the next 2 episodes suck and it ruins the show. Maybe it gets better and better and better. But even if it just stays on the level it's at right now, I know I, for one, as a Star Wars fan, am going to be very, very happy when this thing is done. But anyway, that's how I'm feeling about all of it. Hey guys, listen, I'm going to be doing another one of these. Hopefully Ann will be able to join me next time. The next episode there, we'll be back as well. Guys, don't forget, I'm going to be doing a open mic tomorrow. Come on back and join me for open mic. And again, Monday through Friday next week, we've got the John Campea Show, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come on back and meet us there for then. And of course, we'll be back we got Dark Side, Light Side. We've got the Weekly Hero. I explained the other day on the show why we didn't have Weekly Hero this week, which sucked, but it'll be back next week. And yeah, a lot of stuff going on here at the channel, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the thumbs up button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. That will do it for me for now, guys. Thank you so much for being here and making this a part of your day. My name is John Campea, and until next time, you know I'm going to say it. I have spoken.